quiet plain in Laos once became a deadly trap. It was not a famous battlefield like Dien Bien Phu. It was not a capital city, not a port, not a border gate. It was a strange highland region scattered with ancient stone jars. But in 1972, Plain of Jars became one of the most dangerous chessboards in Indochina. And Thailand was there. Not in the way most people imagine. There was no loud declaration of war, no dramatic announcement on radio, no official parade of invasion. Instead, Thai forces entered the Laotian battlefield through the shadows of the Cold War. They fought beside Royal Lao right-wing forces, Hmong units under Vong Pao and the secret American war machine. This was the war behind the war. The place was Xinjiang, northern Laos. Mountains surrounded it. Roads were few. Rain turned the ground into mud. Fog covered the ridges. Aircraft roared above the clouds. Below them, soldiers crawled through jungle, stone, and bomb craters. The Plain of Jars looked empty from far away, but militarily, it was a gateway. Whoever controlled it could threaten routes into Laos, pressure northern Vietnam, and influence the entire Indochina battlefield. That is why everyone wanted it. For the Vietnamese and Lao revolutionary forces, this area protected liberated zones. It secured strategic depth in northern Laos. It also supported wider operations during the intense year of 1972. For the opposing side, losing it was unacceptable. The Royal Lao right-wing forces wanted it back. Vang Pao's forces needed breathing space around Long Chieng. American planners feared the communist side would tighten its grip. Thailand feared communist expansion near its own frontier. So the plan was simple. Take back the Plain of Jars during the rainy seasons. But the rainy season was never simple. By April 1972, after Vietnamese and Lao forces had gained important ground, commanders understood what was coming. The enemy would not sit quietly. They would regroup. They would call in aircraft. They would push from multiple directions. So instead of chasing endlessly, the Vietnam-Laos coalition prepared a defensive campaign. Trenches were dug. Artillery positions were hidden. Strong points were built. Mobile forces waited behind the lines. The plain was turned into a layered trap. Then came the first pressure. From Sam Thong and Long Chieng, enemy units gathered. This was the dangerous western and northwestern direction. Long Chieng was not just any base. It was the secret heart of the anti-communist war in northern Laos. Aircraft landed there. Supplies flowed there. Vang Pao's forces operated from there. Thai battalions helped strengthen this front. More enemy troops formed around Buon Long. Others gathered near Tom Tieng and Pha Dong. Another group stood near Sala Pho Kon. The Plain of Jars was being surrounded like prey. The defenders had already read the map. They knew the attack would not come as one clean blow. It would come in waves. A thrust here, a push there, a feint through the fog. Then a stronger strike when the line looked weak. The first level of danger was the weather. Rain poured down over trenches and trails. Food became harder to move. Ammunition sank into mud. Wounded men could not be carried quickly. Weapons jammed. Maps became soaked. Footsteps disappeared underwater. But the rain also hid movement. Vietnamese and Lao units used the mountains, forests, and mist. They let the enemy advance into difficult ground. Then they struck from prepared positions. The enemy wanted speed. The defenders forced delay. Then came the second level. Air power. Bombs tore into the highlands. T-28 aircraft attacked positions. American-supported air operations tried to break defensive lines before infantry arrived. The sky was not silent for long. Every ridge could become a target. Every supply route could become a grave. But bombs could not hold ground. After each strike, soldiers still had to climb. They still had to cross open spaces. They still had to face hidden machine guns, mortars, and counterattacks. Then came the third level. The Thai and Royalist forces pressed harder. Some Thai troops were not random fighters. Many were trained, organized, and inserted into Laos as part of a covert system. Publicly, Laos was supposed to be neutral. Secretly, it was burning. The war pulled in Americans, Thai volunteers, Lao factions, Hmong forces, Vietnamese troops, and Pathet Lao fighters. The Plain of Jars became a battlefield of masks. A soldier might not know who truly ordered the attack. A village might not know which aircraft had just passed overhead. A command post might appear on no official map. But the shells were real. The dead were real. The fear was real. Then came the fourth level. The enemy tried to break the defensive center. Campaign stretched from May into November 1972. It did not end in one glorious afternoon. It became months of pressure, counter-pressure, exhaustion, and sudden violence. There were hundreds of engagements, large and small. Each hill mattered. Each road mattered. Each strong point became a test of nerves. One of the critical symbols was height 1098. On such high ground, geography became destiny. From above, one could observe, fire, and control movement. Losing it could open a door. Holding it could stop an entire thrust. The fighting there was brutal. Attackers climbed under fire. Defenders held through bombardment. Units reinforced, withdrew, returned, and counterattacked. Rain blurred everything. Smoke covered the slopes. Orders moved through mud and static. Men fought not for glory, but for a few meters of ground. And then the trap began to close. The Vietnam-Laos coalition did not only sit and absorb attacks. They used mobile forces to strike enemy columns. They hit intermediate lines. They disrupted preparations. They forced attackers to spend strength before reaching the core. They turned defense into a moving blade. This was the key. A passive defense dies slowly. An active defense makes the attacker bleed. By the later stages, the enemy's offensive rhythm weakened. Units that expected to regain the plain found themselves exhausted. Airstrikes could punish, could not decide everything. Reinforcements could arrive, but terrain swallowed them. The rainy season that was supposed to hide their attack became part of their nightmare. Thailand's role remained sensitive because it sat inside a larger secret. Thai forces were not simply fighting a small border clash. They were part of the wider American-backed effort in Laos. Their presence showed how far the Indochina War had spread beyond Vietnam. It was Vietnam, Laos, Thailand, and the United States tied together in one dangerous knot. Yet this was not a simple story of one nation against another. It was a Cold War battlefield. Governments made choices. Intelligence networks moved men. Commanders made plans. Ordinary soldiers paid the price. Laos civilians lived under bombs, displacement, fear, and uncertainty. The Plain of Jars was not only a military zone, it was a human tragedy. November 1972, the campaign had achieved its purpose. The Vietnam-Laos coalition held the strategic area. The attempt to retake the Plain of Jars failed. The liberated zone survived. The northern Lao battlefield remained connected. The victory also supported the wider strategic pressure of 1972 across Indochina. But the most haunting part is not only the victory. It is the silence around it. Many people know the Vietnam War. Fewer know the secret war in Laos. Even fewer understand that Thai units fought there, in the fog of covert operations. The Plain of Jars was not just ancient stones and mysterious history. It was a battlefield where hidden alliances collided. Imagine standing there after the guns stopped. The rain falls again. The stone jars remain. Grass grows over trenches. Clouds cover the mountains. Tourists may see a peaceful landscape. But beneath that peace lies another world. A world where a neutral country became a battlefield. A world where Thailand fought without a loud war. A world where Vietnam and Laos defended a plain that looked empty, but carried the weight of an entire region. And that is why the Plain of Jars is so chilling. Because sometimes the most important battles are not the ones everyone remembers. They are the ones fought in silence, under rain, behind borders, and behind official truth.